Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Rando Geek. We have an article regarding the new broadband mandate regarding New York. I will link this article for you down below in the description, and it is coming from Fierce Network. As we can see here, I did attach a screenshot of the article and its title here. So, despite New York's new law, the fight for affordable broadband rages on. So, this is a very tough and touchy subject because there's a couple of ways to feel about this. One half of us will agree with the internet service providers and carriers that have to deal with this. And then another half of us might feel like, well, they should assist their customers that are in difficult positions and help them out. So let's just hold that thought for a minute. Let me give you the update if you're not already familiar with the story. But they're saying New York's affordable broadband law is now officially in effect, despite opposition from ISPs and trade groups. They're saying it doesn't come close to addressing other factors deterring fixed broadband adoption, said Digital Progress Institute President Joel Thayer. The question of whether the Affordable Connectivity Program is complicated. So, as of Wednesday, operators in New York State will have to abide by a new law requiring them to offer a broadband option for $15 a month, whether they like it or not. Right. So we talked about this in a video I did yesterday or the day before it was. And, basically New York wants companies, whether it's the carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, at&t, Spectrum, whoever it is, to provide plans for $15 a month or $20 a month. And with that, they want you to offer for $15 a month at least 25 megabytes per second, or for a $20 plan, 200 megabytes per second. They're saying that the price increases are capped at 2% per year, and state officials will periodically review whether they should raise the minimum required speeds. They're saying, of course, while cost is one of the more common reasons Americans don't subscribe to high-speed home internet, other factors deterring fixed broadband adoption include the cost of equipment, lack of available service, and the widespread availability of smartphones. So companies are not happy. In fact, they're very mad and frustrated right now. And you might feel as a consumer that they should abide by these rules, the companies, right? The internet service providers, the carriers. You might feel like they should be responsible to assist customers in need that are having difficult times, offer cheaper plans. Maybe just lower their prices in general, right? Maybe you feel they're just too expensive anyway. So this is kind of a kick in the behind here, forcing them to drop prices and be more economical to consumers that don't really have the money. Like maybe offer cheap plans for those of low budget or no budget, and then offer more expensive high tier plans for those that just want to show off and have the cash to spend, expendable money, right? So you can look at it that way. You can also look at it as, New York is already a very expensive place to do business. And, this is going to deter competition further. AT&T's already bounced. They're gone. They've said they will not abide by this rule and they're going to take their business elsewhere. Now, I think eventually this type of rule is going to go into effect in many other states. California will probably be next. I don't know for sure, but, there's kind of like they copy each other, states. They see one state can get away with it, so they decide, hey, we should do that too. It's better for our people. It makes us look like we care more about the people in the city. It'll also increase our chances of being re-elected for positions, right? The mayor, the governors. At the end of the day, it's all about looking good for them. They don't really care, but they have to act like they do. So with that being said, that's one way to look at it, right? And you could say, well, it's going to travel. So AT&T bouncing is only going to hurt them eventually anyway. It'll catch up. Will other carriers follow? Will Verizon follow? I don't know. Verizon's pretty hot in New York. This is it's a big place for them. They pretty much hold it down in New York, most of New York, like the entire state. They're pretty well known. Fios is very big. Home internet is starting to grow. T-Mobile home internet is starting to grow in New York. It's not readily available because of Fios. They figure if you can get Fios, we're not going to offer you home internet, and most wouldn't choose T-Mobile home internet over Fios. There are some people that don't want cables running around in their house. They don't want it. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe it was never set up. Maybe they're renting and they don't have they're not in a position to get Fios. It's too many headaches and they just don't want to deal with it. So they go with a home internet solution that's, it's perfect for them. They can easily swap out if they don't want it. They don't have to go through a big hassle. They control everything from the website or an app, and they're happy with that. Right? So, then we have Spectrum, right? New York City is mostly it's Spectrum. We have Fios. They have, Astound, which was RCN, HughesNet. There's some other small companies, Starlink. We have Starlink. Then in Long Island, the Long Island area, we have Optimum, Earthlink, and then Fios. Fios is very big there. I think Comcast is also in Long Island. So a lot of stuff, right? There's choices. But remember, this law is going to affect all of New York. So all of these internet service providers are kind of being pushed against the wall, and they're not really sure what to do now because New York is already a very expensive state to do business, and they're just going to be competing even harder now. So what is going to happen here is either they're basically going to be forced to do it, and then they're going to cry wolf that they have no money and they're not making profits, or they're going to have to find other ways to increase profitability. They're going to lay off people, which means you'll get those speeds and at that price. But when you call customer service, there's not going to be that many people to help you. You're going to be forced to switch everything to paperless, even though they already are forcing you. But there's going to be these little minor things that just aggravate and agitate the customer. There's not going to be many stores for you to go in anymore. Probably everything's going to have to be done over the phone or online. You're going to have to talk to a chat bot rather than an actual human being on the phone. They're going to have to do things to make ends meet. And they're going to blame New York or LA or whatever other state adapts. So, customers might feel like it's wrong. Some of you are very humble and feel, bad for the companies that have to deal with this. Some of you feel, like I said, that, yeah, they should help out. Many of you might feel like it's not the carrier or internet service provider to do the job of the FCC. They should have never canceled the ACP program. They should have waited. They should have reduced it maybe, but kept it around until the economy was a little better. So basically, the FCC is putting all the pressure on the companies that are providing the service. Basically, if you want to do business in New York, it's their way or the highway. And that's why AT&T left. And although there's always adjustments financially that can be made, right? We know that CEOs get paid too much. If they didn't take so much profitability for themselves, there'd be plenty more money to pump back into companies. We know this. But we're also living in a fantasy if we think that a CEO is going to do that. Maybe if it's a small pop and shop business, they're going to do that. But when they're huge, widespread companies like Verizon, like Spectrum, AT&T, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that because they're working there for that kind of money. And you're not going to find a CEO, most likely, that's going to do that. You might, if you hire somebody that's like in Bloomberg status, like who is the mayor of New York City, maybe, you hire some rich dude that comes from a wealthy background and doesn't need money. Maybe he'll work for $1 for a year or two. But it's unlikely. It's unlikely that they really want to deal with all that stress of running a large corporation, especially in 2025 when everything is like difficult and stressful enough. So, it's not a good look for New York because people, like I said, there's many emotions that are going to be felt towards this. Companies are probably going to get tired and they may reconsider leaving, or they'll stay, like I said, and they'll half-ass it, and they'll make it difficult for customers to really appreciate the service. It'll basically feel like a welfare service. You'll get, like I said, a chat bot, no more customer service reps. Like, that's probably not going to happen overnight, but we really have to think about it. If they're saying that it's going to be too expensive, that AT&T says they couldn't maintain it if they did. If they stood in New York and tried to offer their fixed wireless access, notice they didn't offer fiber because it's too competitive already. Fios is the king of pretty much all of New York State, New York City, so there's not enough room for them as it is. But then to try to compete financially, offer more competitive pricing just so they can take customers from Spectrum and Fios, it's just too much of a headache in itself. And then now with this new law, forget it. They're done. They don't even want their home internet anymore. So, like I said, a lot of ways to feel about this. And I could go on and on and on because there's just so many things that I could say about it. But, I don't want to make it too long. Sometimes I do, and I drag these things out because you can dive really deep into this. But the moral of the story is people are upset. Internet servers are upset. It's going to be real interesting to see what companies stick around and push through it. I think they'll try. I think they'll definitely try. We might see other states adapt to this rule. Maybe it'll be modified for their area, for their people. Maybe it won't be exactly as tough, but they'll probably adapt this type of rule as well. Just because, like I said, it's a good look for the people in charge. It makes them look like they care. See, in the eyes of people that are poor or low income, this is a good thing for them. They're excited because they're going to get to use Verizon Fios or Spectrum or whatever company is available in New York at a good price. They don't really care that the company is suffering. And, personally, it doesn't affect you directly because it's not your money. You're saving money. But if these companies, say they don't have any money to keep going, well, then they won't be around to offer service. So it's kind of like a mixed bag of feelings, right? And then again, like I said, you're not wrong if you think that the government is messed up for imposing this. You're not wrong if you think the FCC should be doing a better job in helping these companies, being a little bit more fair to them, offering them some kind of assistance, or that they should have just kept the ACP program for a little longer to kind of help people that are claiming that they don't have the money to pay for internet service. So you're not wrong for feeling any of it. Your opinion is your opinion, but it will be interesting because this is developing, very much developing. I'm not going to do 20 videos about this just for the sake of content, but it's an interesting subject. I thought it'd be real interesting to point out directly the frustrations and the complications of this whole situation rather than just talking about one specific carrier that's affected by it. I talked about AT&T bouncing. That's important for you guys to know. This is also important to know. You need to look at the whole overview of the situation that's at hand, and that the possibility is that as much as people are mad at New York right now, it's probably going to happen in other states. But we'll see. We shall see. That's what makes this really interesting. As always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.